thought a lot about gender and I like to play with it. I stand for women by identifying as a woman. That makes me a lesbian. I might be showing my age a little bit here, but anyone else remember when men weren't allowed on dating apps that were meant and designed for women? Just kidding, that was literally only a little while ago. But yeah, for the better part of the last 2 years, I would say, we have seen a consistent influx of men, we're gonna call them straight men with fetishes. I don't think these people are actually trans women, on queer women dating apps. The slippery slope argument is 100% accurate in this case. We went from someone who is physically completely male to transitioning physically and biologically or chemically to the best of their ability, integrating themselves in society, and then asking to be called a woman. Then we went to somebody not transitioning physically at all and still asking to be called and treated as a woman, even though they are still presenting completely as a man and are male. And I might get for this, but in certain situations I am still also on board for this. I do have certain transgender friends that cannot physically transition because of health reasons, and I will still personally use their preferred pronouns. It's not kind to call someone something they don't want to be called. And now we are at people no longer asking to be treated as a woman, but demanding that everyone change their entire view of what a woman is just because that's how they feel. No matter what they look like, no matter what you see with your own eyes, you have to believe them or else be called a bigot. And in some cases, if you're a business, you can be fined. And now we have someone identifying as a woman because they stand for women. Make it make sense. I posted this on Twitter just to see what you guys had to say, and I loved this person's response. What this really means is I stand by women by appropriating them and preying on women that have no interest in me. Yes. Just yes. You get it. A few people responded with the fact that this profile might very well be a joke. I hope it is, but you know what? It says a lot more that I'm not sure if it is or isn't. But even if this one is a joke and somebody just trolling, I have a ton more profiles that are not. And because I'm doing damage control videos once again for the LGBT community, please click the like button on this video, subscribe if you haven't already. I wanted to have an actual trans woman in this video with me, and I wanted her to have the ability to tell you why it upsets her as much as it upsets me.
I generally have a rule where I try not to judge people based on their kind of appearance. I try not to be particularly nasty, but that generally means that there needs to be at least some sort of effort made by that person if they want me to kind of respect the way that they look. So first of all, we have Ren, who looks like Uncle Albert from Only Fools and Horses. Probably not many Americans are going to get that reference, but just look at that big bushy beard. That big bushy sailor's beard. What's interesting is the guy on the right, apparently they are the same person, but just look at their hair. Like, they actually seem, it's kind of interesting how the colour from the beard went over to the ponytail and vice versa. Still a mass amount of hair, but as a bit of a serious point, these aren't people who are taking the piss. These aren't people who are saying that they are trans women for a joke. Remember, there is an open border on who gets to self-ID as being a trans man or a trans woman or non-binary or whatever. By the rules of trans rights activists, everyone that you're going to see is a woman simply because they say so.
Hen goes by she, they, very queer, not your father's daughter, still very much female. Serious question I have for this person and for anyone that looks like this. Why is it that 95% of the time, people like this, who don't care to pass, who treat trans, in my opinion, as like more of a fashion statement, are usually either polyamorous, in open relationships, or ethically non-monogamous? Like, why? 95% of the time, these people, this is what they do. They are almost always some whimsical hipster, and that's like fine. It's just a pattern I'm noticing.
Cassandra, a pan-trans woman looking for friends, dates, and kissing friends. And Cassandra's hobbies also include being kinky, because of course you got to throw your kink in there. Hates cops, hates Nazis, hates TERFs, hates bigots, strictly anti-fascist. Of course, none of that should be, you know, a surprise to anyone. Always have those kinds of buzzwords in your profile, because these are the kinds of people who self-identify as women when just looking like men.
Serious question though for these types of supposed trans women. Why the beard? Wouldn't that make you feel more like a man? Like, I know, speaking for myself, when I start to like see the hair on my upper lip start, you know, coming through again. I wax that shit off, I bleach it. Okay, next person. Brinnifer. Is this like a new ship name for Ben Affleck and Jennifer Lopez getting back together? If so, love it. Again, the beard, I just don't get it. All right, we got the next profile. Dez, or Deez, or Does. Dez. I think it's Dez. I don't know how to pronounce that name. My friend Andrew on Twitter, though, I posted this a while ago. Andrew said, Deez nuts, and I'm dying. Also, doesn't this person's profile picture remind you of something I commented on a while back? Remember that exhibit in San Francisco that was promoting these? Also, why is it that so many supposed trans women love posing with bats? Is it because they're trans women that are also lesbians and they like softball? I will say this, I feel like this all is just a bit, manly. Isn't this the opposite feel? Like if you're going for a trans woman that already doesn't pass, wouldn't you just try to present even more feminine to feel as much female as you could? Am I making sense here? What I'm trying to say is, wouldn't it be to your benefit to act as feminine as possible? And I know that feminine doesn't mean female, but if you can't look female, wouldn't you at least try to look feminine? It doesn't make sense to want neither of those things if you're actually transgender. Another question I have is, how many people actually think somebody would want to date them after seeing this as their profile picture?
What's kind of funny is like this guy here is the least hairy out of everyone involved. Like he has like a tiny bit of a beard at the bottom of his chin, and I think he has like a little bit of a soul patch. That's kind of about it, really. He's the only one that actually does look like he might be taking the piss. All the other ones look like they would, before they came out as being trans women, they would wear, you know, like male feminist out like badges and stuff. He just looks like, he does look like he's on here for a laugh.
To play devil's advocate here, obviously many trans women, in fact probably most trans women on dating apps and such, do not present themselves this way. My question now is for the people that do. Women aren't taught to behave this way. When women don't get their way, we tend to just be more passive aggressive. We don't usually threaten with violence. We don't have bats in our profile pictures. It's not how it works. But now, because of things like this happening, it is making people feel that it's more than okay to say things like this, which in my opinion is completely normalizing misogyny. This person on Twitter said, normalizing calling transphobes cunts in 2021. Let's be honest here, most TERFs that these people are talking about are simply biological women like myself that have opinions on issues that affect them directly. And the truth is, most of these celebrities calling out supposed transphobia, calling out these TERFs, are actually just normalizing misogyny. This person, Adam Gets It, listen to what he said on Twitter. I must be getting old. I remember when calling anyone a cunt was a grievous act of misogyny.
Hi, lesbians of TikTok. This is 5 reasons why you should date me, a trans woman. This will no longer be you. Here you go. If we decide to have kids, it can be genetically both of ours because I have swimmers frozen. My regular size clothing will look like this on you.
Yes, it will.
I can easily squat 150 pounds.
Hi.
And lastly, I've gone through so much trauma and grief coming out as trans that if you are a good-hearted human, you will be treated like a goddess.
This trans woman actually doesn't bother me at all, to be honest. She doesn't seem creepy or manipulative. The only thing that I find interesting, and then my slight little problem with, is that she said lesbians of TikTok and not just like women who like women or queer women. Why is it that she's targeting lesbians specifically? I'm gonna let that one slide though, because I feel like I gave the majority of this community a hard time this video, but you know, I'm gonna call shit out when it needs to be called out. The point of making these types of videos isn't to hate on these types of people, right? It is to simply showcase the insanity that is coming from the far left progressive movement. It says a lot when we're not canceling people like this, who are literally threatening women with violence, and we are canceling people like J.K. Rowling, who simply said that sex is biological and sex is real. Why are we as a society allowing these things to continue to happen? This just happened a few weeks ago over in Washington State. Women sexually assaulted by biological male inmate who identifies as female in Washington State prison. I'm just saying, why are we still continuing with biological women witch hunts while letting men, males, continue on? But no, we have this queer imposter syndrome, which is literally just furthering the width. It's expanding the width of the queer umbrella and what it means to be LGBT. Love what this guy said in response to this, by the way. He said, here's a crazy idea. LGBT people can have their own group, and attention-starved straight people who want to seem edgy and different can do their own thing and not bother the rest of us. I mean, if you have to ask yourself, am I queer enough? You're probably not queer. Hate the word queer. But in this context, it makes sense. If you feel fully comfortable showing yourself as a male and presenting as a man in society, society, you're probably not a trans woman. Unless you have no other choice, obviously. Like, unless you're afraid for your life, that's a different story. You're simply a straight dude with a cross-dressing fetish, or just like with some kind of weird sexual fetish, which fetishes are fine. But important to note that neither of those things are the same. What do you guys think though? Do you think that it's okay that, in my opinion, these straight men with fetishes are allowed on dating apps for women? Do you think that it would be the same situation if somebody that looked like me, that presented completely female, went on a gay man dating app and then tried to get with gay men? Do you think that the gay man community would have the same response? Let me know what you guys think, and I will see you guys back here in a few days with a brand new video. Until then, I love you. I hate these people. Okay, bye.